Hi everyone, I hope you were all well. It's a bit of a blustery, horrible day here today, and because we've had some really blustery weather here in the south of England for the past 2 nights, so much so that I hardly slept in 2 nights. It's just been too loud and uncomfortable, and so thank goodness I wear glasses so you can't see the massive bags under my eyes or the dark circles. They are certainly there. It's just been week as usual, working and all that jazz, but I was really happy this week because a massive piece of work that I've been working on for 2 weeks straight got completed. Yay! So it feels a bit easier with work at the moment, and I've only got a few weeks now until I've got a week off, so I'm just counting down the days until I get a week off from work. It's going to be lovely, absolutely lovely. But anyway, I'm here to talk about the book I've been reading this week, which is Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. Now, this is a book which made quite a buzz when it was published in 2019, and as you can see at the top here, obviously a bit shiny with my camera, but it says the British Book Awards Book of the Year 2020. And Queenie follows a 25-year-old woman called Queenie, who is living in London. She is British Jamaican, and she has been, shall I say, in a relationship with a guy called Tom for about 3 or 4 years. I can't remember exactly how long it was. I have a feeling it's more like 3 years. And their relationship it's a bit sour at the moment, and they've decided to kind of separate for a while. And Queenie's decided, right, she's moving out, she's going to find her own place, she's going to spend some time, kind of assessing things and finding out who she is. And that's what this book covers. Now, this book was marketed by the publishing house, it's Trapeze, isn't it? Yeah, Trapeze, who published this book. It was marketed as being the Black Bridget Jones. And even Candice herself stated that is not the case. So I was a bit taken aback by the marketing for saying that, for doing that, because this is certainly not a Bridget Jones kind of a story. I went on Goodreads the other day and I had a look at people's comments about this book. And one comment stood out so clearly to me, and that was somebody who commented on the marketing and said, this is not a Black Bridget Jones story. This is a cross between the BBC comedies Fleabag and Chewing Gum. And I couldn't agree more. Queenie herself has got some serious issues. Some are emotional, some are psychological, and there's a lot going on in Queenie's life, and it's all about her finding herself. And Fleabag and Chewing Gum are British comedies which do much the same, and they are also dark comedies, especially Fleabag. That is a very, very dark comedy, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I really, really recommend Fleabag. It's an astonishing comedy to watch. It's got so much heart in it. It's absolutely extraordinary. Now, Queenie, I had issues with Queenie. I had issues for the book. I had issues for the character. I had issues with the story overall. I'm going to say this now. I hate to say it because I really don't like it doing this, but as I said, I wasn't going to push myself to read something that wasn't working for me. I couldn't finish the book. Across multiple days, multiple times, I sent messages to my sister and her friend Sarah to say, this book is really brutal to read. I don't know if I can handle this. I can deal with this. Now, you're probably thinking, well, hang on, if you know my channel, going, hang on, you've read Irvine Welsh, you love Irvine Welsh. Irvine Welsh is a really, really dark writer. Yes, he is. And I think he is absolutely amazing. He is impeccable with his art. But just like Phoebe Waller-Bridge is impeccable with her writing of Fleabag. What Queenie, however, does is that the way it has been written, it just doesn't work. Every single page, from about page, I think it was 7, where the first time I went, wow, okay, whoa, we are going there. From every page after that, it felt like there was something new. There was something new. There was something new. It almost felt like I was like walking down a road and someone was putting a rock in my bag, in my backpack or something, and then there was another rock and another and another and another, and I'm slowly getting weighed down by it, and I can't walk as fast and such, and that's how it felt. As I said, Irvine Welsh and like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I know they're in 2 different mediums, book and TV and theatre and so, but you know, go with me here. They understand that in order to have darkness and cover things like mental health and abuse in all its different types and forms, you have to get the balance right with other elements and human personal connections with characters and such. If you don't get that balance right, you are going to flood the reader and make them uncomfortable. You're going to make them not want to carry on. You have to get the emotional connection, the personality connection to your key character, and if you don't do that, it's not going to work. So, for example, let's look at that for Phoebe and for Irvine. So for Irvine, the character of Bruce in Filth, he is one of the most disgusting human beings you could ever encounter in literature, or at least I have ever encountered in literature. For what he does, it is truly horrendous what he does in that book. But I wanted him to get better. I wanted him to succeed. I felt everything that he felt, and I cried for him. My heart went out to him. I wanted to hug him. I wanted to let him know that it was okay. I wanted to talk to him, to get him help. So clearly he struck a chord with me, and I still feel that for him. For Fleabag, my God, that woman was so complex and in so much pain, and just trying to find herself in a world that was telling her the way that she should be, and that she shouldn't speak out, that she shouldn't have a thought, and that she, in a way, didn't deserve love when she did. And the beauty and the sharp wit and how smart she is. She is an extraordinary character. And when it came to Queenie, I just didn't get on with her. It was almost like I felt disconnected from Queenie. I was following her, and it was, written from her perspective. So I was following her. I was seeing, reading her thoughts and everything, but I just couldn't connect with her. And there were times where I was thinking, Queenie, why are you saying this? Why are you reacting the way you are to that situation? Now, of course, I just want to clarify. Now, of course, it's probably more likely, should I say, that further down the line in this book, and probably at the end of the book, those perspectives and those understandings of why she says the things that she says, or why she does the things that she does, would become clear. And I haven't reached that point. So I'm not saying that she will never get there at all. I just didn't go along for the ride. And the reason why is that I just couldn't take it. I couldn't take, there's so many stones being thrown at me, as I said, like into my backpack as I walk along this journey, and then a mega stone fell for me about 120 pages in, where Queenie is having sex with a man that she's met through a dating app. And I was like, right, okay. It's very graphic, just so that you're aware. The various other sexual encounters and such that I got through before the point I stopped reading were explicit. But this one was brutal, to the point where I was thinking, does she actually want this to happen? Is she actually being raped? And the way that he's talking to her and commanding her to do things, and she doesn't react to it. I'm not saying that she should have reacted to it, but the inner thoughts that she has whilst this is happening, I was like, okay. And then when it's over, she says, well, that was new, and then just moves on. And I was just a bit like, okay, as I said, stone upon stone upon stone, the balance that I said that you need to the emotional connection, and they make horrific things in whatever form they take that you experience with that character. You have to get the balance right. And this book just went completely, for me, just went completely tipped over to the darkness is way taken over the connection of character and personality here. And I just went, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. So, as I said, I mean, most likely near the end of the book, she discovers some things about herself, and I am sure that she has suffered some kind of childhood abuse from things that got said, or weird things that she keeps on waking up screaming and thinking that she can see a man in her bedroom and stuff like this who isn't really there. And so I'm certain that that's most likely a source of her anxieties and stuff like that. And I really hope that Queenie did get the help that she needed and such in the end of this book. I really do. But I just couldn't take the journey anymore with her, because I just felt this was too much for me. So that's why I couldn't finish the book. I am baffled at how the marketing team at Trapeze thought it was okay to market this as being the Black Bridget Jones when it's absolutely not. It's kind of like the marketing for Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine, which again is about a woman who is going through some serious issues in her life, psychological, other mental issues and such, and affirming, or discovering, should I say, who she is. And that got marketed. If you looked at any poster that had quotes and star ratings to do with this book, it was like 5-star, funny, funny, funny. It's not a funny book. There are like a few at most funny moments in it, but it is deeply emotional and psychological and so well constructed. And that got the balance right, as I was saying before, between the darker elements and the personal connection and wanting to take the journey with that character, just as Fleabag did, just as Irvine Welsh's writing does. But I just feel that Queenie didn't hit that mark for me. So that's why I couldn't carry on, guys. I'm sorry. I like I said at the beginning of this year, that after going through 2020, I have decided that I'm not going to put myself through something that I don't feel comfortable with. And I really tried with this book. Multiple days I was sending messages to my sister and Sarah saying, I don't think I can cope with this. I had a break. I picked it up the next day. I persevered as long as I possibly could. And then when that chapter, about 120 pages in, happened, I was like, I can't do it. I can't. So there we go. A third book this year out of 10 books that I've got. Is it 10 books now I've gotten through? 10 or 15? I can't remember. No, it must be 10. Third one I haven't been able to finish, but my God, I tried. So the different books don't suit everyone. And I've actually asked the question on Facebook Book Club, which I'm a member of, and asked people specifically if they had issues with this book. And out of all of those who replied, only one have said, I love this book. Everyone else said, I found it really hard to get through. It was quite jarring. It was a struggle. And one person said, I had to read it for a book club. If I wasn't a member of that book club, I wouldn't have finished it. There were people who were saying they didn't like Queenie at all, so they just couldn't connect to her. And so I think it's one of those, I think it's a Marmite book, really. But I think the marketing really got the marketing wrong for this book. Completely wrong. But I hope they get for future books that Candice writes. Because sorry, I forgot to mention at the beginning, this is her debut novel. I hope they get the marketing right for future books for her. I really do. And I still find it interesting that Candice herself has spoken out and said, this is not a Bridget Jones book. And good for her for doing that. I have to say, good for her for doing that. So yeah, I'm not going to do a reading because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like if I were to find a section which didn't have any kind of abuse stuff in it, in whatever form it takes, I would have nothing of interest, as it were, to read to you. Probably just be her walking down the road or reading her text messages. But yeah, because I don't want to make you guys feel uncomfortable by reading out something that's quite explicit and such, or anything that may upset you. So there we go. So those are my thoughts on Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. So would I read this book again? No, I don't think I could. I said I only made it 120 pages in, so I think it's fair to say the answer is no. Would I read any more of Candice's writing, any more of her books? I think I would like to have a look at any future books that she has. As I said, this is her debut novel. I don't know. I forgot to look up before I started filming to see if she has another book that has been published since or is due to be published later this year. I think I'd like to see what other stories she has to come up with, because I did find sections of it very interesting, what she had to say. But yeah, I just hope that it's not as structured as Queenie was, which made me uncomfortable, and therefore I couldn't finish it. Would I recommend this to anyone? I don't think I would, if I'm honest. Because if something doesn't work for me, and I know in my gut that the person who was asking me about this book, if I knew that it wouldn't work for them, like a really good friend, I'm not going to tell them to read it. So yeah. So that was Queenie. So, I hope you enjoyed that review, even though it probably was pretty negative. But, you know, it's just a case of this book didn't work for me, but that doesn't mean that it won't work for every reader. So, you know, if you want to give it a go. Let me know what you think of it. Have you read this book already? If you haven't, or if you want to read, or you read it and then find me, please leave me a comment in the comments box below, or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. It's entirely to let you decide. And my next video is actually announcing the next 5 books I'm going to read, which I'm so excited about. So check that out to find out what book I'm reading next. All right, guys, bye.